He does love them, you know. It's just that, well, some men don't know how to show it. Oh, and I know I don't help much nagging him all the time, but I just can't stop myself. Sometimes it just gets me down.
You're not the only one who'd feel like that. Look, have you ever thought about joining a play group? They're run by mothers, just like yourself. They're good fun, and the children have others to play with. Now, I've made a few inquiries.
Hello, darling. Oh, you gave Mummy such a scare.
We gave Jason a thorough examination, Mrs. Summers. You didn't mention that he'd broken his arm recently.
Oh, well, he's always tripping over his feet. But Dr. Whitlow said it was mending okay.
He's the family doctor.
I've been to him a few times.
We also found some bruising.
Oh, that's nothing. He's always getting into scraps with his sister, aren't you?
Well, you just try and keep a good eye out for him in future, huh?
Thanks, Doctor.
Gail, could you just wait downstairs for a minute? I just want to ring work and tell them we're at hand. Excuse me, Doctor. I'm Mrs. Summers, next door neighbour. No, I know you can't discuss your patients, but I just don't believe that Jason is accident prone.
Do you have any reason to believe otherwise?
Well, I've only just moved in, but... All right. Now, I know it's a serious accusation, but I believe that Jason's been abused by his stepfather.
Stepfather? What about the other two kiddies?
They seem fine.
Aye, it's usually the way. One child bears the brunt.
Well, is there anything that you can do? Or me?
Well, I had intended going to the family doctor. We could build up a case. But the trouble with child abuse, if that's what we're dealing with here, is it's very hard to prove anything in the initial stages.
Initial stages?
Unless the child has a history of unexplained accidents. Or a witness can testify that he's seen the child actually abused. Very difficult to do anything at all. Some of the time, we're too late.
You and Becca Burke must think we was born yesterday.
I don't know what you're talking about.
She gave herself away when she put a fiver on a nag that'll come home a day late. Now even Burke isn't that stupid. Bee's gonna be real pleased to hear about this, I'd reckon. Yeah, real pleased.
You're trying to scare me to death. Oh, look what you made me do.
Sorry. You're a bit on edge, aren't you?
I just didn't hear you, that's all. Well, come on, what'd you find out? You took long enough.
Not very much.
What do you mean, not very much? You followed her like I said, didn't you?
It was my idea, remember? She's on to us.
So what happened?
Oh, well, I was right behind her when she left the dining room. She heads off for the loo, so I have to hang around there till she comes out. Then halfway along the corridor, she doubles back towards the kitchen. Then Bev and Lil appear out of nowhere.
Oh, her and her bloody goons. So then what?
So then nothing. You don't think I'm going to hang about with those two heavies for company, do you?
No, I don't suppose so. Could have been a coincidence.
Not a chance. It was all too convenient. Anyway, she said she'd been on to us and had been from the very beginning. And she's going to tell Bea.
Oh, dirty, rotten bitch. Well, she's not going to get away with it. Do you think it's hid in the kitchen?
Well, that's where she was heading, and she does spend a lot of time there.
Think I might spend a bit of time in there myself.
I reckon you ought to wait for a while, you know. Try and get on kitchen duty.
Oh, what? And give her time to stash it somewhere else? No way.
She'll be watching pretty closely.
I'm not scared of her. Besides, I put $5 on a nag that's probably pigeon-toed. Just going to get me money back. And hers.
Meg? Hey, anybody home?
Oh, I'm sorry, Paul. I was a million miles away.
What's the problem?
Actually, it's something I wanted to talk to you about. You might be able to help.
Sure, come into the office. Okay, what's the worry?
Well, it's my neighbours, you know. You met them the other night?
Oh, yes, Gail, wasn't it? She struck me as rather a nice person. Mind you, I didn't take too kindly to her husband. I don't like people who barge in on a group of strangers dragging their domestic problems with them.
No, it's not the family squabbles I'm worried about. It's their eldest boy, Jason, I'm concerned for. You know, I think he's been mistreated.
And what makes you say that?
Well, there's lots of things. Well, last night, for instance, I heard them having one hell of a blue. There was a lot of screaming and the kids were yelling, and then her husband slammed out of the flat. Well, just after he left, Gail came to ask for help. She said that Jason had fallen out of his bed and hit his head. We had to take him to the hospital.
Was he badly hurt?
No, not even a concussion, actually. The doctor said he'd be fine and just kept him overnight for observation.
Well, couldn't it have happened exactly the way she said it did? I mean, lots of families fight from time to time. The two things needn't be connected.
They don't fight from time to time. They fight constantly.
All right, Meg. Unfortunately, a lot of families fight constantly.
Well, look, normally, Paul, I would agree with you, but there are other things. Well, for instance, the doctor who examined him found a recently healed break in his arm, and he's got an awful lot of bruises, both old and new.
Well, I admit that doesn't sound too good, but he could be an awkward kid who just keeps walking into things and falling over a lot.
That's what Gail said. She called it accident prone.
Yeah, well, there are such kids, you know.
Oh, Paul, it just doesn't ring true. And from what I've overheard, her husband's got a pretty violent temper. Now, I was wondering if there's anyone in the child welfare department you knew who could look into it.
Yes, I know one or two people, but it's a pretty dicey situation. And all you've got to go on is your own suspicion. Look, why don't you have a talk to Gail? She seems to get along well with you. She might confide in you.
No, I've tried that and I didn't get anywhere. She was immediately on the defensive and refused to say a word against him.
Which is exactly how she would react if, in fact, he were completely innocent.
Or if she were afraid of him.
Jason, will you stop making all that noise? Mummy's got a headache, love.
Listen, you help Mummy now. We'll play a game. Let's see who can get all the toys back in the basket the fastest. Come on, Jace, you love playing games. Mummy doesn't want to play alone. I'll tell you what, we'll have a race. Let's see who can get them all in the fastest. Come on.
Mummy's going to find out why Stevie's crying, love. Now, don't you get into any trouble while I'm gone. When I come back...
When I come back, we'll play another game.
You'll find that mop works a lot better with someone on the end of it, Burke. Get moving.
I was just waiting to powder my nose. Unless you want me to work with me legs crossed.
All right, but don't take all day about it.
Yeah, what's the time limit on nose powdering these days?
It's enough cheek out of you, Burke, unless you want to do these floors all over again, just to make sure they're really clean.
I don't know about you, love, but I'm taking a break. You two keep an eye on the doors.
Nice to see you all so well supplied. Any bets for this afternoon's races? How about you, Lizzie? Gonna take another flyer?
I ain't got no money. Besides, gambling's a sin.
Yeah, you big losers break my heart.
Look out! Get those bags out.
Later, I'll be
Later
down.
what, Gaffney?
It's later than I thought, Miss Bennett. I wouldn't want to keep anyone from their work.
You three don't seem to have enough to occupy yourselves. I'll see what I can do about that.